right, time check now. We've got 15 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock. You're still listening to Spin 95.3 FM. Omar here. I told you earlier that we'll be having the special advisor to the Abia State Governor, Media and Publicity, Mr. Ferdinand Ekeoma, here in the studio on executive feedback. And he is right here in the live studios of Spin 95.3 FM. Good morning, Mr. Ferdinand.
Good morning, my brother. Thank you for having me.
All right, this program is streaming live on our YouTube channel, alphaspintv, that is ALPHASPINTV, alphaspintv, or Facebook Spin 95.3 FM, Omaya. And
where they went to unveil or commission the Manutech Uniport program, which is a joint FG UNDP platform, technological initiatives that the government believe is the best way to go at the moment. So, of course, from there, the minister and His Excellency the Governor proceeded to Obo, for the smart school commissioning. That's Obo is at Obakala. Please don't mind my voice. I'm under the weather. So, we have 20 smart schools, and of course, each local government is expected to benefit one. Okay, and then of course, Omahi and Aba are expected to have more. So, but they are at the different stages of completion. Massive work is going in each of the smart schools. So it's going well. It's across the state. 20 is what you are going to have on completion. One thing is about one thing is to execute a project. Another thing is to execute one that will be worthy of being described as a project or a smart school here, as it is. If you go to the one at Obakara Dogbo, smart school, you will agree with me that the government did a great job. And the people that executed the project kept to the instruction, the standard required by the governor to have all the necessary digital equipment that are expected to exist in a smart school. You have the computers, you have the laptops, you have all kinds of things, the electronic boards and all kinds of things.
Yeah, okay. I mean, when do we expect to see, or is there any time frame we can expect?
Most of them will be delivered later this year. Most of them will be delivered later this year. And of course, that funds are, scarce. Funds are limited, so you don't have unlimited funds. The smart school has generated a lot of controversies where people claimed that the government claimed to have spent 54 billion, which is false, which is baseless and unfounded. But we do not want to waste time, repeating ourselves on what we had explained. We said that budget is not expenditure, and even where a certain amount of money has been captured, as expenditure, in principle. There are approvals in principle, there are expenditures in principle, and it is when you do your annual audited budget account that you will know what has been spent and what has not been spent.
Okay, so that was in principle.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But it's even something that doesn't even make sense. I mean, you say 54 billion has been spent. And nobody ever said that, and nobody can prove that the government said that anyway. But that's by the way. So the most important thing is that we're taking it bit by bit. There are a lot of projects ongoing.
Okay.
A whole lot of projects are ongoing at the same time. And because of where we are coming from, the government decided to take on a lot of projects at the same time, whether in road infrastructure, in health, in education. For example, you have 7 general hospitals that the government has commenced work on. That is massive. It's not an easy thing. But then, whether you like it or not, you are a government. You are under obligation to deliver. You are under obligation to meet the demands, the expectations of the people. So we We don't have any problem.
Okay.
People putting pressure, people asking questions, or
Now,
people making demands.
Still on that smart school, there are allegations on the admission of pupils that some are not allowed due to where they're coming from, some from indigent homes.
It's not true. You know, we responded to that during the post-school briefing. You know, there is no, you know, sometimes, and I told the journalist that raised that concerns or asked that question to please, if you know how this government operates, then you will know that there is even no appointee of the governor that will even contemplate that, because you know what will be the consequences. Okay, so we say if you have any evidence, please bring it up. There is nothing like that. Don't forget that they are the war, you know, at the school road own, you know, because the population of people there or pupils there stood at 300, and now based on what the government wants to do, the vision of the government, the scope of work the government expects, you know, to have, because of demands of people who are showing interest, nothing less than 1,000 population there. So that was why job was put on, the work there was put on hold, and decided to phase out of work, so that you build the required structure that will have the scope, that will have the size and everything, the facilities to accommodate the 1,000, which is what you want to accommodate there. So now people are also, the pupils are also expected to write exams. Okay, so you pick people based on performance. Okay. Those who may not have met the special, you move them to still train and prepare them to qualify. So, but if you are so deficient, irredeemably deficient, there is nothing the government can do. So when they talk about, will I call it, I don't know how to describe it. If you anybody tries to accuse the government of trying to patronize some persons because they're indigent, the question is, are the pupils paying? The pupils and the students, are they going to pay? Nobody is paying them to the government. So on what basis would the government want to, you know, treat some people unfairly? There's no basis for it. So, but like I said, if anybody has any shred of evidence, please come up with it. Okay. The government will deal with it decisively.
Let's go to other issues of concern. Recent happenings. The government, let me say, reactivated the ban on commercial motorcycles in urban metropolis. Now, but they are permitted to operate in rural areas. The government cited security concerns. Now, what are the plans of the government in terms of security for the rural dwellers? There is an instance of something that happened last week where 2 kids were abducted by a keke rider, and it happened in the rural area. But in the urban center, it seems government is more focused in protecting the urban.
Where did that incident happen?
Almost in Sulu.
Almost in Sulu. It's not actually very rural, anyway.
Really?
Almost very rural.
Of course, it's a rural area.
Okay, yeah. But I knew it happened at Sulu, but I didn't know the specific place it happened. Okay, so like you said, the government reactivation of the ban on Okada. You know, the way some people try to hype the whole thing, made it look as if this is the policy is novel. It's not. This is an existing policy. It was, I think, in 2009, during the government of former Governor Theoge, that Okada was very angry. And of course, the anger was justified, because if you were in the state then, you would agree that they were taken by surprise. There was no pre-information, there was no alternative arrangements, you know, but that was a mistake that had been made. Okay, so, and there was nothing like Ike then. To just Okada, aside the commercial vehicles, Okada was the only means of transportation, the heart of Abia then, and those things. So when it was banned, and the people reacted badly, but over time, KK came into existence, and it contributed immensely in ameliorating the plight of the people. Now, because of insecurity, government has nothing to gain by stopping Okada riders from operating. Okay, you have absolutely nothing to gain.
My question
I'm
is,
coming. Yeah, I'm coming. I just want to, you know, take it sequentially so that people will understand. It's important I digress a bit. So, and that was what led to this restriction. And government didn't say it has to be only in the rural areas. No, it is not correct. For example, if you go to Isikot, from Isikot heading to Amakama, that place is not rural, for Christ's sake. It's not. You can't call that place you have peseta and the federal housing, the two federal houses, the left and the right. You can't call those places rural. They still lie there. Nobody disturbs them. That is still urban, real urban, not even semi-urban. Okay. It's still urban. And you have other places like that in Omaya. I'm using Omaya as a case study here. You go to Abia, it's same thing. Okay? If somebody is applying, what do you call it? Ohanku Road. The other roads, the Ewo Road, Aja Roads, and all those inside there, you can't call those places are heart of the town. So is really urban, not even suburban. They are really urban. But when I say in the heart of the city, okay, it's also important for us to state here that as at about 10 years ago, Keke was banned in Owerri. Keke, I didn't say Okada, was banned in Owerri, was banned in Uyo, was banned in Calabar, was banned in Port Harcourt and other cities around us. All the Kekes in these places moved down to Abia State. That's why you come to Abia State everywhere. But what can we do? You know, because the other cities were moving ahead of us then, and Abia became a dumping ground for him. So, but then you can't come here and clamp down on them and chase them away. You need to, it's a process. You initiate the process of solving the problem. So, one, don't forget that the Keke, the truth is that Keke still has access to many places that Okadas ply. That is the truth. Keke operators go to most of the places the Okada ply. But then those who do not have Keke should also exist, which are the Okada people. So the way the government has specified this thing, arranging, gives these people, you know, the freedom to still ply the other routes. Okay, so if vehicles are operating, KKs are operating, Okadas are operating, even within the time, we also know how most of the Okadas, you know, how they operate as well. In fact, in Abia, there is a place called Horseman. You know, the man was into, he was an orthopedic doctor. When Okada was banned then in the state, or in Abia then, you know, the man went out of business. Because people were dying in their dozens, in their numbers. People were getting disabled on a regular basis. So everything that has a disability also has its own advantage. So but here, nobody's chasing them away. What it just is to regulate their activities and say, you don't apply. At least cities grow. Umuahia is growing. Umuahia is developing. And developments come with, you know, their own new policies and restrictions and the rest of them. So there is nothing out of place that the government is doing, and government is doing it with empathy, with human face. Let me just give you an example. A few months ago, I think that was last year, in one of the media chats,
government plan to secure rural areas, because most of these kidnappings happen in those places.
Okay, so security measures the government is putting in place are holistic. We don't say people don't know a lot of things that happen in this state. Don't forget that we have the Security Advisory Council chaired by the former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Azubike Hejirika. Okay. And the council is made up of other eminent Abians, retired generals, you know, and the rest of them. People are there. So on a monthly basis, they meet, they review security challenges, security concerns, and take necessary measures to ensure that Abia is safe. And that is why we can proudly tell you that Abia is one of the safest states in the country, and that is a fact. Okay, so what the government is doing is holistic. It's not just about the urban areas. So, but then it's also important. You know, you talked about the pupils that were kidnapped. Yeah. We need to also appeal to parents and guardians. You can't leave a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old. No matter the measures you put in place, people will still want to commit crime, kidnapping, armed robbery, all kinds of things. You know, because we know that this thing has taken a dangerous dimension. Baby factor and all the rest of them. You know, what do you call it? stealing of children and all those things. So people also have their own roles to play, because no matter the security measures the government puts in place, if I was passing here and I saw a woman moving with 2 toddlers, you naturally assume that the person's children. So even if you're a security expert, except you see something, something that doesn't, a behavior that is concerning, that you would be forced to ask a question, are these your children, and all those things. So people must play their own role. You don't just bring 2 kids of 5 or 6 years, you send them to a Ekeoma that you do not know to take, even if you know the person, to take them to school. It's a dangerous thing to do, and these things keep happening, and it's not good. So government is taking far-reaching measures to ensure that the state is secured. If you know what the government did at Law Panther, you know there is no other